Alright, so I made it to Illinois, buying another car. I drove 24 hours with stopping to sleep. I got a fire extinguisher this time so we don't have a Crown Vic situation, and a vacuum sealed block of cash. So we're about to go pick it up. Driving a King Cobra, 1978. Let's see, where do I go, right or left? I'll go right. The shifter is so long. Let's see, here's fourth, our last gear. 1-to-1. We're going 45 right now in a King Cobra. My new favorite car. Brakes are good, it's not pulling left or right. The first Mustang to get rack and pinion. And it steers like a normal car. Like my other car, the steering is incredibly hard. The Sausage Pony.
And it's actually the first American car to get rack and pinion.
Man. Oh, we're driving the King Cobra on gravel. I think my door might be slightly open. Or it's probably the bushing is worn out on the striker. Because I shut it pretty good.
Also the first car in America to have the amber turn signal lights that none of us like.
Yeah. Oh no, it actually is telling me door jar.
Wow, high tech. Where the buzzer works.
Alright, I'm going to give it a little throttle, about half gas when we get on the road. I won't floor it yet, we'll just because the road's wet. That's 60. That was pretty quick. I gave it about, I'd say a third throttle right there. It was not much. Thing just drives great, so smooth. Said it. He bought it in 2000, and it's been sitting roughly that time, other than occasional cruises. About what I just did, about a mile circuit or so. Man. Oh, there's the house. Brakes were good. Here it is. I'm at my dad's house in Illinois. The trip from where the car was, it was only about 15 to 20 miles, and the car drove flawlessly. I got on it pretty hard 2 or 3 times and chirped a tire. Ground was wet, but thing just, it drives smooth, brakes flawlessly, it doesn't pull. It's got brand new tires. All the brakes are brand new, from the booster, the master, all the lines. The fuel tank and system's new. Tires are new with a spare set that we got in my dad's truck. But I'll flip the camera around and talk about it a little. So I changed from my regular clothes into some work clothes. The car has a rattle. It's I wouldn't call it a rattle. It's actually pretty aggressive on the driver's rear. I thought it was the door, no striker, which I think is part of it, but I think that the shock or something is bottoming out hard, and it is sitting really low in the rear, you can see. So I'm just gonna jack it up, check it out, and see what that thud is. But it fires right up, starts, cranks, runs, and it's rust free. The thing is mint. I'll actually show you guys once again the paint and everything. So the body is just immaculate, rust free. You got some, like, there's a dent here and the paint is peeling, and my current plan is to just go over the car and drive it as is and just enjoy the car. And then in a few years I want to strip it and completely restore it, factory color paint. And the bumpers, this one has some fiberglass stuff, and it also is cracked here, and the front bumper will also need fixed. But we'll just go around the car. You can see I mean, it's just great. I mean, the reflection is still in the paint. You can see, I don't know what this is. That might be a speck. Maybe something was filled. But this thing is just great. And I'll show you the other bumper part. But luckily, right here, I know you can just buy these reproductions. I'll show you the interior. The rear seats are not installed, but you can see that he cleaned them and they are flawless. They are really good. The fronts have a cover. I'm gonna order some upholstery for them, redo them. It could use carpet, but I am gonna look for a center console too. Put one in here, maybe even customize one, and maybe build it so I can put cup holders. So it has a 120 mile an hour speedometer swap. It originally, I believe, had an 85 mile an hour swap done, but this was my view. I'll bring it back to where my head was. That was my view right there, driving. And this 8-ball shifter, he said that he got it from a bar in Alabama, and while he was in the Navy on post, he drilled a hole in this, and over time he would slowly tap it to cut threads in it for this. And it has the other shifter down here, so it's awesome. T-tops, and it has a second set of T-tops too that came with it. The door lights and everything work. Ka-chow! There I am. Yep, factory 4-speed manual. But, yep, I'm going to jack it up, crawl underneath the back, and just see what that noise is. Okay, I'm back already. Haven't jacked it up yet. I just thought that this was something cool. So, for some of you that don't know, I grew up in Illinois, where I am right now, in the Quad Cities. So it's southwest of Chicago, like 2-3 hours. Well, this car was originally sold in East Moline at Reynolds Ford. So it's been here its whole life. Well, I kind of got carried away and put the rear of the seats and everything back in. Me and my dad did. And I jacked it up to check out what that noise was. Oops, it's good. And I saw this, how close I was. I was like, oh, maybe it's the exhaust. So I grabbed it just to move it, and it twisted, broke the muffler up here. So I'll go up there and show you what happened. So when I moved it, it just broke. It broke the header right off. You can see that. And that looks just too thin to weld. I mean, if it just twisted like that, it's probably trash. So that's gonna be a problem. I don't know what that pipe is. It's JB welded and clamped. Oh, that might be exhaust. But otherwise, look how mint it is under here. There's some rust starting, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's just clean. I'm working on getting the header off or out. It's still slightly connected on the top, and I will need this flange when I re-weld it if I can. So the first step is to get this out, but I might go get blocks of wood or something to get the car higher, because I just can't move my arms enough under it to truly get it out easy, and it's rusted. So I need to get higher up. So I just looked up. I can order a set of headers from Summit Racing. Exactly what this car has for $300. Says they'll ship tomorrow. There's only 2 in stock. And I'm gonna try to take this header off first. Like my dad said, no matter what, I'll have to take it off to repair it or to swap a new one on. So I'm gonna pull this header off, see if I can weld it, but the metal looks too thin to weld. But I got the plugs off, I loosened some bolts, plug wires off. Now I'm about to pull all the plugs and then drop this header out and see if I can weld it up here and patch it, or if I just have to order it, because I'm here for about 7-10 more days. So I think those headers would show up in time, but I'm gonna pull this off and I'll bring you guys back when I got it ready to look at. I was able to get it off. Look at that Illinois grass, how green it is. But so this one here is toast, and this is just toast. So I think I'm gonna put the factory exhaust back on. It came with the car. So I think the factory manifolds are going back on it. And then if I ever want to do headers, which like my dad just said, he goes, it makes 140 horsepower, like it's stock. So it's not like I'm choking the engine or really draining it of power. So one more look of this went in there and just trashed. Yep. This is the original driver's side King Cobra manifold. So we're gonna need new gaskets and a donut thing to go in there, and to find some loose pipe. But I could order that, like I said, for 300 bucks and then hope it gets here in time, then try to install it before I drive. And we're just going with this because we already have it and it's free. So now I'm gonna source down parts. This is what I got to fix it. Factory manifold. My dad had this. I think this is to his El Camino or something. And I bought this just in case. I don't know. I bought it just in case. And here's new gaskets. Comes with the donut gasket. And do you notice here, we couldn't find this clamp that comes on. So I found this. I've never seen this before. But it looks like I brought this in, the bolts line up. So I'm going to use this crazy looking thing to hold that, and then some bolts. So just to get it back on the road for now, and then I can figure things out once I get back to Florida. I had to go back to the auto store because I bought the wrong bolts. I bought 5/16 and I needed 3/8. And while I was there, I picked up this piece here because the pipe under the car is like 2.5 inch, and now I'm going from it with a 2-inch pipe. So, oh geez, there's more of that. This is kind of what we're looking at. I didn't cut it on camera, but I did just tack weld it. I had to shorten it. We'll get that fixed later. Shorten it probably 5 or 6 inches, and that's that improvised collar we got going on. I don't know what it's actually supposed to be meant for, but it's gonna work. So I'm gonna stick this down in the car and get it in position. I unbolted it. So this bracket, you can see where I marked blue. The holes are wider than these here. So I'm going to have to drill those out a little bit. And so this is off of an El Camino, I believe, GM. And you can see I marked some Sharpie there and Sharpie right on this bottom one. Oh geez, right here. And I'm gonna have to go around this. You can see a little pinhole right there. Fix this up. But anyway, because it doesn't quite fit that well in between here, so I'm just gonna make it a little better fit, and then this will slide on, clamp it all together. So a little bit more work, clean this up, drill these out, and put this all back on, bolt it together. I'm gonna have to cut this pipe here, weld that other angle I got, put the clamp on, the adapter on, and then get it to the exhaust system. It's already like almost noon, and it's a great day. I should be out driving the King Cobra. King Cobra. I got this wallowed out. Looks pretty ugly, and it required more than I thought, but it'll do the job. This here's that donut gasket I keep talking about. It will sit in a groove in here. Let's see if I can get it. You can kind of see how it's a concave dished area, and it matches this. So that will go in there. And I took this to my dad's bench grinder, and I had to just touch the edges here. You can see where it's shiny, just to get it to fit in between the bolts here, and it's mint. Just fits great. So you can see it'll sandwich. It's hard to do on hand. It'll sandwich that, oops, in there just like that. Create a seal, and this slides over. This slides over the pipe here and will be pulled tight there to compress that all. So that being said, I'm gonna get this stuff installed. I have to cut this somewhere, take this pipe and install it somewhere on this pipe to get it to turn back to the exhaust that you can see hanging down right there, laying on the ground. Just get it back up in the air like this. So, and I know we were under here before, but that thumping I really thought was that. Now it actually is sitting on it, so. But it might be that shock. Look how worn out that is. But okay. That leaf spring looks strange. Hopefully it doesn't break. Okay, I'm gonna get back to fixing this. So my dad and I put the manifold on, and I finished welding this part. It clamps right here, and then welds up, goes up there, and if you can see, it clamps to that part that I told you was off in El Camino. And you can see that front, the other manifold, that pipe that sticks down, that's the header. to the other side. Another thing, I know I kind of showed you before, but my dad and I were looking at is back here. These leaf springs, I've never seen them separated before. I don't know if they're supposed to be like that or what. But Rock Auto has them for $160 and $10 shocks. So I'm gonna ask my wife if I can order those. But yep, we'll see, because if I can get these ordered and if they show up here in the next couple days, I could swap them and it'd be safer to drive to Florida with new springs, new shocks. Plus, I'll show you the ride height of the car. It is sagging, and you can kind of see the springs are almost flat. I don't know if that's just how they're supposed to be or if that just shows that they're kind of worn. But I'm gonna get the car back on the ground, take it for a cruise. Got the car sitting on the ground again. You can see it looks like it totally sits low in the back, but I got these wiper blades we're about to throw on because right now it has gloves. It's got gloves for wipers. So I'm gonna throw these on and then we're gonna cruise it. Well, I just put almost 10 gallons in it, and I was saying to my dad, I was like, I wonder when the last time an actual gas pump nozzle was stuck in the car when I filled it up, because you know, it's probably the past 20-30 years it's probably been gas cans. But we're about to hit the road again and keep cruising. Alright, so we just got it for a cruise, took it about 2 miles from home after getting gas, and from what I can understand, the car, this is the first, I think, American car even to get rack and pinion, first Mustang for sure, to get rack and pinion factory steering and the amber yellow taillights, which while I was working on it, I was even questioning. So this was the first car to get amber taillights, meaning instead of just all red, there was a yellow amber one. But I was trying to think, I think this is the only year Mustang that has a yellow taillight, because none of the other ones I had did. And my 99 Cobra, it was very unique that the Cobra got amber taillights added to it, turn signals. So that was just some cool like trivia about this. And one thing about being a King Cobra is there's a tag up here on the hood. It's in the front and it'll say V8KC for King Cobra. And that's one way how you can verify that it is a genuine King Cobra. Plus, we know the whole car's history. I just met, so the guy I bought it from, my friend, he's had the car since 2000, so 24 years. And what's some interesting facts about that is my dad had found the car in around 1985, 1986, saw it, and talked to the guy, met the guy, because he had a Cobra too, and saw a guy with a King Cobra. And then that guy lived in Milan, which is a town over. Well, he ended up moving across the street from my dad. And my dad's 19 at the time, so obviously I'm not even a thought. Well, then the guy with the King Cobra, my dad said years and years down the road, my dad had already sold his Cobra, the King went up for sale and then disappeared. Well, that was 24 years ago. And then my dad was working at a job and met a guy, and they were just talking. Well, the guy goes, oh, I bought a car over by that turn where we live. And he goes, what kind of car? And he goes, a Mustang King Cobra. And then I was already born. So I was already alive at that point, and I was into cars, as you guys all know. So then I started talking with John and been after the car since I met him. And I did some work on it back in like 2015 or 2016. And I've been on him about buying it, and finally now he decided he'd sell the car. So not only did I meet him and talk to him about the car and learn what his history is with it, but I met the guy, my neighbor, who owned the car. And his name tag from when he worked at Hardee's was still in the car from probably the 90s. And he told me he bought it from Reynolds Ford, which I already showed you the sticker on the back. So as far as it's as we understand, he was the second owner. So it's pretty cool and pretty unique. All right, so as you know, we're back from where I grew up, and it's on the Mississippi River. So I'm messing up. It's on the Mississippi River. So I'll take you on a tour of the car so you can check it out in the sun. So I've owned the King Cobra now for like a week and I haven't filmed too much of driving it because I'm up here visiting family. I've driven it like 4 or 5 times now for a total of about 40 miles. And to see the trailer behind me I rented, I was gonna drive it back, but those leaf springs, I just decided it's too risky in case they snapped. I know people do the like revive and drives, but I was just telling my wife, I was like, those leaf springs, I had a Fairlane where I unbolted them, the leaf springs broke in half right at the center where they were at meet the axle. And I said, if this was a normal car, I'd probably risk it, but can you imagine if I drove this and just the axle shot out from under the back or something and I flipped it and ruined a King Cobra, 1 year only? I would never forgive myself. But anyway, lawnmower's coming back. I'm gonna go drive this. Back in the driver's seat. As far as I know, this is the last year of the real thick glass before, like Fox Body's got the more modern glass that's real thin. And this is the last of thick stuff. So in 1986, when the title was bought, this car had 25,000 miles on it, and now it has 39,000 miles. And everything's in really good shape. The original owner told me this black dash was originally like a cream colored dash, like the carpet here, but someone had broken in and stole his radio, so he found this black dash, because they ruined the dash stealing it, and he found this black dash as a replacement, which actually looks pretty good. I like it, but just for all the collectors out there, this was an original cream colored dash, maybe somewhere in between those or that color, I don't know. But I'm gonna take this for a spin. Just cruising in my T-Top 50 King Cobra. Exhaust leak. Thing runs great, man. I truly think this would have made it to Florida if I would have fixed those leaf springs. Because, 60 miles an hour hitting bumps, I've never seen a leaf spring separate before. I've seen them rusty and pitted, but never in my life actually start separating. That's... you guys propped up on an iPhone against the windshield. No fancy GoPros or anything yet. Alright, I'm getting back to my dad's house. Should I romp on it right here? Alright, I will. Flip you guys over. That was full throttle. and I'm gonna load it on a trailer, start hauling it back to Florida. All right, well, we tried to load it here, but the air dam was too low. But luckily, our friend, my dad's neighbor, with the field there's a dip, and we were able to back this up and get the car in the field to where the ramps, the trailer was in the dip, and the ramps went almost perfectly straight, so the car just right into position. It worked out great. Okay, so one of the original owners just brought these wheels over, and I'm about to pack them. We're packing up, and these were from my friend who I bought the car from. And I was carrying it, and I went to move it, and I heard this. And I was like, what in the world? Look, it's full of these walnut things, mice storing them. The wheels are full of them. That's just funny. All right, made it to the gas station. I got the car loaded up with all kinds of baby clothes and gifts and a Range Rover toy. But I'm just gonna look it over and get back on the road. Made it back to Florida, and a little extra, the mommy missile's repaired. Looks mint, but I got it so that the bumper shouldn't get ripped off. So we had to load it in a field, but I've got that over there, lifted up, and then boards underneath it there. And then Lauren's gonna watch and make sure while I back up that it's all good. So here we go. The King's new home. Oh, my dog just escaped. I used it to store a bunch of my baby's toys and stuff that she got while we were up visiting family. So it's full of baby toys. But I'm gonna finish cleaning a spot for it in the garage and back it in. King Cobra, baby. The King Cobra's in Florida. It's 4 in the morning, and I woke up to my phone going off like crazy. There's a tornado out there, and I ran out there. Their trash cans were flying down the street. I had the tires, spare tires and everything out front. Tires were running down. I was running in a tornado. I'm completely soaked. I had the garage door open. Things in the garage were flying and hitting the back of the garage and going outside. It was nuts. I ran out there in a tornado, jumped in the car, fired it up, and it kept dying. It died out 3 times, and I backed it in.